Hi, I'm Micala.
And I'm Jen.
And we're your best bridesmaids. Welcome back to our channel. We're so glad you're here because today we are actually going to wrap up our series on choosing your vendors. And we're going to be talking all about videography today. We know we did the photography, and videography is just as important. So we definitely wanted to make sure we touched on that.
First things first, let's talk about the importance of having a videographer. I know a lot of people, this is the thing they cross off their list when it comes to a budget. I think it's extremely important to have a videographer. Actually hear from a lot of brides, that is the one thing that they do regret.
Mm-hmm. And I know for me, it was kind of a last minute decision. My background is in broadcasting, so I had my professor from my school, shout out to Dr. Clark. He actually ended up coming down and shooting the wedding for me. And I know that looking back now, I just think I'm absolutely insane for not having considered that right up front. And I'm so thankful for the footage that I do have because you know, those moments, you see them in pictures and it's very important, but I'll tell you, I just went a couple months ago and I went back through my wedding video and hearing those vows and seeing those tears, it brings back so much more emotion that sometimes you might not be able to get from pictures.
And coming from someone who didn't have a videographer, I really regret it. I would say maybe even a year after our wedding, we were completely fine with it. But now that we are starting to have kids, it would have been something nice to be able to share with them.
So from both of our personal experience, hopefully you'll realize just how important a videographer really is to your wedding day. And to start things off, we're just gonna kind of go through some questions that we think are really important to ask your videographer. One thing that you're going to want to be confident about is how well your videographer works with the photography team. Your videographer and your photographer are going to be sharing a lot of the same space on the wedding day. They're going to be going after a lot of the same shots. So you want to make sure that you've got somebody that's a team player, is willing to help out when they can, and is also willing to maybe not get in the way when it comes to the photographer and vice versa.
For sure. You want someone who wants you to have a good video and wants you to have good photography, and that goes with the photographer as well.
Definitely.
One thing that you want to ask your videographer is what is included in the film. Some videographers actually only include a highlight reel, whether it be 5 minutes or 15 minutes. If it's important to you to have your ceremony covered, all the traditional events at your reception, you want to make sure that is also included. Another thing that you want to consider is being okay with leaving some things out, like the cocktail hour. Yeah. Lots of hours of dancing that can get really repetitive. I'm sure videographers, a lot of them will include a little bit of dancing, but you want it to be something you can enjoy for years to come.
Another good thing to ask is how do they capture audio? Definitely a big one. You want to make sure that you're using a videographer that has microphone capabilities to mic, the bride and the groom for the ceremony, or to mic the maid of honor and best man during those speeches. Because if you're in a setting where there's a lot of background noise, say you're shooting at a place, I know Jenn has shot at a place where there was a huge fountain, so it was kind of hard. If they wouldn't have had a mic, they wouldn't have been able to capture that audio from the bride and the groom because of the background noise. So make sure that you're getting a videographer who knows what they're doing with audio, because you don't want a video of just a bunch of music overlay and no voiceovers or anything like that. You want to be able to hear those vows and hear those special moments.
And your last question, what kind of format will you be receiving the video? Will it be an MP3 file? Will it be a DVD without MP3 file? Is it going to be a digital download? Is it going to be on a jump drive? You definitely want to consider those things, because in the future, how are you going to be accessing that video? It might be important to have either both of the formats or one that's going to be more beneficial for you in the future. So hopefully this gives you a lot of information on how to choose a videographer, why you should have a videographer, and when you go into the planning process of picking that videographer, having those perfect questions to ask them.
Thank you so much for watching. We've loved having you here, following us along on our Choosing Your Vendor series. We know there are a lot of vendors out there that we didn't cover, so if you have some questions about specific vendors or types of vendors, feel free to comment below and we'll be happy to answer you. And of course, be sure to subscribe because we do have a lot of fun, new content coming your way very soon.
And as always, happy planning.
Don't forget to have fun. Go on a date when you check off a check thing. When you book a vendor, celebrate.
Yay!
Wait.